All right, welcome everybody to the Garden of the Spirit learning book called Zera Shimshon in memory of Malka Ruth Bas Moshe Margaret Volkl of blessed memory. Okay, now what? Can I go on? Okay,
Wait,
so
aren't we learning from the center of the universe?
oh yes, we are learning from the center of the universe, Longmeadow, Massachusetts.
There you go.
Um, so Ruth goes and she comes back with Naomi. They own a field, but nothing's been done with the field. Naomi owns the field, and the field is just lying empty, and and they have nothing. So Rus goes to gather, to glean in the field, and they find out the owner of the field finds out that this is Rus, that's a relative of Rus's husband. I think it's a cousin. I think it's a cousin to her father-in-law, cousin to her husband, I think. And so he sees her and he tells her that she should stay and work and come to his field to collect. And he gives her something of somewhat of a cryptic and long-winded welcome and instruction. And so the first thing the Zera Shimshon is going to ask, what is the meaning of this instruction that he gave her? He told her that she should only go to his own field. She should walk behind the harvesters, the workers who are harvesting. And he also said, I told them not to bother you, not to harass you. So Zera Shimshon asks, like, why would they harass her? We understand. Why would he tell her to walk behind them? We would understand that the workers were upright people who wouldn't harass uh single women and widows. This is, after all, the of course we have the mitzvahs of for the poor people, and the poor people can go into the field and collect that which is forgotten. They collect from the corner of the field, and things that the workers forget to harvest, and also from when they grab hold of the stalks, sheaves or stalks, one or two slip out of the hand, so poor people are entitled to that. Not to the If three slip out of their hand, they're not entitled to. So let's begin here on page 9. Please go ahead.
Hmm. So when Rus came to collect produce in Boaz's field, his instructions to her and to his workers seemed unusual. Later, when she left him after staying overnight in his granary, his actions and parting words to her also seemed unusual. In this drush, Zera Shimshon explains that both of these scenarios reflect an important strategy that Boaz implemented for the success of his ultimate marriage to Rus and the redemption of her fields.
Okay, so he begins with several questions. Go ahead.
So the verse states, keep your eyes on the field which the harvesters are harvesting and follow after them. Have I not ordered the lads not to touch you? This verse is difficult, for why would Boaz have to command the workers not to touch her? Could it be that they had some reason to bother a widow convert who came to gather sheaves in the field? That is not reasonable. And furthermore, it is explicitly written in the verse, you shall not afflict any widow or orphan. Certainly the lads who worked for Boaz would not touch her or molest her, for they were certainly fenced off from any immorality or sin. And furthermore, how is the end of the verse, have I not ordered the lads not to touch you, connected with the beginning of the verse, keep your eyes on the field which the harvesters are harvesting and follow after them? For the sequence of the phrases seems to imply that it is specifically because he said to her, and follow after them, that he needed to say, have I not ordered the lads not to touch you?
So what's the connection between saying to follow, telling her to follow the workers, and that he directed them to leave her alone? So first, the next thing is it's going to explain he's going to explain some of the laws of Shikha. As I mentioned, there are several laws for the poor people that they come to glean in the field. And one of those laws is Shikha. Shikha means to forget. That means if you're going up and down the to harvest and you forget a certain piece, that is that you're heading towards it and now you're walking away from it. Back up.
No.
Exactly what is considered to forget a some of the stalks. What falls into that category of forgetting? So basically is if you were, let's say, in that area, or you were walking towards it, and then you didn't finish the row, you turned around, you thought you were done. And let's say you were three-quarters done with the row, and then you stop to go in and get a cold beer or something, a cold seltzer. And trust me, uh, when I mow my lawn, sometimes I'll stop and I'll stop in the middle and I'll run in for a cold drink. In fact, my lawnmower even has a little holder for drinks. So you go in to get a cold drink, you come back out, and you thought you finished the row. You turn around, you go back the other way, and then when you come back this way, you realize that you had turned away from the other piece. You forgot to do it to harvest it. So that is called a shikha. That is something that's forgotten in the field, and you have to leave it there. So the laws for exactly what is considered forgotten can get very detailed. Okay, so let's continue.
So we may explain as follows. Zera Shimshon introduces his answer with a brief presentation of the laws of Shikha, the forgotten harvest that a landowner in Eretz Yisrael must leave for the poor. This only pertains to land in Eretz Yisrael or any field that's owned by a Jew anywhere.
Land in Israel, if I'm not mistaken, it was extended to areas near Israel where many Jews live. The rabbis extended this to
So
the land to the lands that were not near that were near Israel, not far from Israel.
but it
So
doesn't
the
apply
poor can rely on it.
in Gullus.
No,
Putzlaritz. Okay.
right.
Okay, for it is written in the verse, when you harvest your field and you forgot a bundle in the field, you shall not return to take it. And the fourth Mishnah in the sixth chapter of Peah states, this is the rule. Any forgotten produce that is subject to the prohibition, you shall not return to take it, is considered shicha, which the poor are entitled to take. But any forgotten produce that is not subject to the prohibition, you shall not return to take it. Eino shecha is not considered shicha. That is,
And now he explains what that means.
okay, that is produce that is still before the harvester, which he does not have to go back to retrieve, is not considered shicha because he need only continue forward to get it. But produce that was forgotten behind the harvester, which he would have to go back to retrieve, is considered shicha because he would have to return to take it, which is prohibited.
So
And this
the words of the Torah are, if you look to the beginning of the paragraph, it says, "You shall not return to take it." So what's considered something that's forgotten? Something that you need to return to it. So like you were there, you were headed there, and then you went away from it. Now you have to go, only if you have to go back to get it. But if you don't have to go back to get it, if it's ahead of you, then that's not considered shikha.
does, not to be trite, but does the returning imply a certain distance?
Not that I know of. I don't think so.
So it could be any distance.
Yeah,
Hmm.
a short distance, a long distance. In fact, in the laws, it says, what if the owner doesn't forget about it, but he's not in the field? He happens to be in town, and the workers were the ones who forgot. And it gets into all different different.
What if it's directly, what if it's fallen directly in back of you?
If you have to return to take it, you have to turn around to go back and get it.
So
Then,
even turning around, if it dropped in back of you, you can't turn around.
well, that's not forgotten. If it just dropped, then it's not necessarily that you forgot it. But yes, if you have to turn around to go to retrieve it, that's
Okay.
considered something you forgot.
Okay. So,
The
however,
same thing, it goes during the harvest, and it also goes when you gather from the harvest. You harvest, you leave stuff in the field for maybe for a few months, and then you go back and you retrieve it, and then you pile it all on your wagon and you bring it to the granary. So that also, if you forget it, um, then you that's also falls into the category of shikha, of forgetting.
okay. However, in a case where there are two or more people harvesting the field, the Mishnah there goes on to state two harvesters who started from the middle of the row of sheaves, this one facing north and that one facing south, and they forgot a sheaf behind them in the middle of the row, it is not considered shicha. In this case, even when produce is forgot behind the harvesters and they would have to go back to retrieve it, it is not considered shicha. Okay. So the difference being that they started in the middle of the row.
Yeah, we'll continue.
Okay. Rav Ovadia Mi Bartanura explains if when they turn their faces to start to harvest, this one to the north and that one to the south, one sheaf remained behind them and they forgot it, it is not considered shicha, even though they have to return to take it, because they both relied on each other to take it. And that is how it was forgotten. Elaborating on this explanation further,
So what's a sheaf?
a sheaf, a sheaf is a
It's a tied bundle, right? It's not one stalk.
yeah, it is.
Okay, fine. I'm gonna double check on that. Um, okay, go ahead.
Hold
And let's
on.
finish the paragraph.
Sheaf. Oh, I stand corrected. It's a bundled. It's a bundle.
Okay. And I should say, if anyone travels through the country around here, through the country roads, you
Hmm.
see you do see these out in the field in July and August. You see the rolled bundles.
But those aren't sheaves.
What are they? They're the replacement of sheaves. What they used to do with sheaves,
Okay. All right.
I think those are the replacements. That's what they do now. Okay.
Okay. Let me see. I just lost. Okay. Elaborating on this explanation further, Tosfos Yom Tov writes that the verse's clause "and you forgot a bundle" implies that forgotten produce is considered shicha only if it was not forgotten on account of someone else who was with you, but rather on your own account. In this case, however, since it was forgotten on account of another, it is not considered shicha. And the quotation ends here.
So in other words, you have here two people. Here's the row, and two people, workers, line up back to back, and they work from the middle towards the end. And guess what? Behind when they started, in there was behind each of them, there were some stalks or a sheaf that they didn't catch. So each one relies that the guy behind him will take it. So if So if the other guy forgot it, then it's not, or they both missed it. It's not shikha because each one relies. The first one said Rabbi Ovadia Bartanur says that the guy behind them expects the guy behind him to take it, and Tosfos Yom Tov says because here it was forgotten not by you but by the other guy. So therefore, even though there's two, this is what he says. But that would be considered not considered shikha, and they shouldn't, and you're not allowed to take it. Okay, so this is the law of for of forgetting of shikha that the Zera Shimshon quotes, and now he's going to relate to our case where Boaz told Ruth that she should follow behind the workers.
So, based on these rules, Zera Shimshon answers, with this introduction, we may proceed to clarify the verse with which the drush began. Boaz said to Rus that she should look for a place in the field
I'm okay. Go ahead. Got lost.
where they had already harvested, follow after the harvesters, collect everything she finds, and everything that she finds should be hers. Whether it was leket, i.e., the stalks the harvesters dropped as they reaped the produce, or whether it was shicha. Now he instructed her thus, so she would act modestly and not walk in front of the lads. But this explanation alone is difficult, for since many
Hold
lads,
on. So he told her to walk behind them, said she's not, it would be immodest if she's in front of them and they're able to see her while she's collecting the sheaves, bending over and so on. So he told her to walk behind them. But this is not, go ahead.
for since many lads were harvesting the field, as in the case of the above Mishnah, what they left behind was not considered shicha, since they relied on each other to take it, and that is how it was forgotten, as was explained above. Therefore, Rus should not have been allowed to take it.
If there are
Hence,
multiple workers there, if there are multiple workers, each one relies on the other guy to take it, and then it's not shikha.
hence, in order for Rus not to be frightened that the lads might not want her to take what they forgot behind them, since it was not considered shicha, Boaz therefore preempted this concern by telling her, have I not ordered the lads not to touch you? By which he meant to say, even though the sheaves that they forgot were not halachically considered shicha, he did not want them to be particular about this and keep it for him. Rather, he wanted them to leave it for Rus.
Okay, so he especially wanted her to take stuff that she was not halachically entitled to. And so he told her to walk behind out of modesty, and he told the workers that they should let her take whatever she takes. And even if it's halachically not shikha, then they should just they shouldn't say anything.
And he instructed them thusly.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so based on this explanation of Boaz's instructions to Rus and his workers, Zera Shimshon introduces a new discussion with the following question. But you might think, what did Boaz mean with these instructions? For if he wished to give her produce of his own, he could have given her produce in private and with honor as a respectable gift and not let her be disgraced to have to go and collect in the field as a pauper. I mean, he could have also said to his workers, he said, listen, there's a woman by the name of Rus, and she's going to be in the field, and whatever you drop, she's is hers.
Yeah,
He could have said that as well.
he did. That's what he said.
No, but there's this whole orchestration. He says to her, walk behind them, he says he gives them instructions,
Yeah,
but he could have just what's he telling her not, why is he telling her to walk behind them?
out of modesty.
Okay. I mean,
Got it?
right now I have more questions than answers, but that's fine.
Yeah. You want to say it and I'll do my best?
Well, if not, if out of modesty, but yet the presumption early on was that the lads are all Torah true Jews. They already know the halachas. They're not going to take advantage of her. So he says walk behind her purely to protect her.
No, not to protect her. She should be modest.
Well, is she going to walk in front of them?
Within their vision. So first he tells her, walk behind them out of modesty. And then he says that whatever you catch there, even though technically it might not be shecha, you might not be legal halachically entitled to it. Don't worry, you can take it because I told them that it's okay if you take, even though it's not halachically she's not halachically entitled to
The
take it.
absolute simplest statement would be, Rus, go into the field and take whatever you want. It's my field. It's all this orchestration, whether it's shicha or not shicha. I mean, wouldn't you not say that that's the easiest thing is just go into the field, take whatever you want.
What's easier? There's something even easier than that.
He hands it to her.
Yes,
He gives
yes.
it, here's a basket of apples or a basket of barley, whatever.
Rudy, you're really good. You're on the ball.
You don't even have to go into the field.
So this is page 12, and the
Yeah.
essay goes till page 18.
Okay.
So that's what the rest of the essay is about.
About,
Just your question.
oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you're on the ball.
I didn't cheat. I didn't go ahead.
You went ahead,
No,
and
I
then
did
and
not.
then
No,
you want to look
no,
smart.
no, I did not. I did not go forward and then return and look back. It's a plausible thing to suspect, right?
Good, very good. I didn't pick up on it when I prepared this, when I looked it over. I don't know if I call it
Okay.
exactly preparing. I didn't pick up on that. Very good. Did you read the question here? But you might ask.
Um, no. Yes, I did,
Okay.
but I'll read it again. But you might ask, what did Boaz mean with these instructions? For if he wished to give her produce of his own, he could have given her produce in private with honor and as a respectable gift, and not let her be disgraced to have to go and collect in the field as a pauper. Yeah, I mean that's the most plausible question, right? Why go through all these instructions? Just give her the bushel of barley.
You're in your question before, you called this an orchestration.
Yes.
And in his explanation, that's exactly what it is. An
Okay.
orchestration. And he was
Okay.
orchestrationing it. There was a special reason why he did it this way. And he
Okay.
didn't just give it to her or say, hey, go to the field and take whatever you want and so on.
Okay.
He had to make it look, he intentionally wanted to make it look like she was there just collecting as a pauper without any special attention.
Okay.
Give one moment. Now, hopefully everyone knows the story of Ruth, that later Naomi told her to dress in her finest and actually in her Shabbos clothes. And that's from here we know that we should have special designated Shabbos clothes. We should have special clothes for Shabbos from Naomi and Ruth. So Naomi said to her, dress in your Shabbos clothes and go out to the field, and he'll be there alone. He's sleeping over outside. He's camping out because they're harvesting to oversee. go over there and talk to him and tell him of your plight, and he'll know what to do. So she went, and he thought she was a ghost at first, and then she says, "No, no, it's just me." So he said, "Don't tell anyone you've been here." In the morning, he gives her he gives her six stalks. Okay, six stalks, and the Gemara talks about that. Exactly what was he giving her? And he says, "Bring this for your mother-in-law so that you don't come back empty-handed." Oh no, he doesn't say that. I'm sorry. He just says here, just bring it to your mother-in-law. Just here, and then she, when she gets there, she tells her mother-in-law, "Oh, he sent this for you. He told me that you shouldn't. I shouldn't come back empty-handed, so he gave this." Um. So then, and then we're gonna come to. There's gonna be more, but we know. Go ahead to the next paragraph. Has more questions.
Okay, so having raised this question, Zera Shimshon raises additional related questions. And furthermore, why did Boaz not give her anything as a gift? Not the first time when she had to gather in his field, as was described above, and not the last time when she visited him in his granary at night. Rather, on the contrary, concerning the last time it is written, and he measured an omer of barley and placed them upon her. It did not say that he gave them to her as a gift. He said just that he placed them upon her. Only later, when Rus came back to her mother-in-law, she is the one who said, "He gave me these 6 measures of barley, for he said to me, 'Do not come to your mother-in-law empty-handed.'" But we never find that Boaz specifies that he gave them to her as a gift, only that he placed them upon her. And furthermore, we never find that Boaz said to her, "Do not come to your mother-in-law empty-handed." Rather, Rus said that he had said so. And another thing needs to be explained. Why is the word Eli, to me, pronounced in the verse, but not written?
He gave it to me, but it's spelled differently there. I did not look that up.
Hmm,
Okay, so why did Boaz do this orchestration, as you say?
right.
So what we're gonna see. Oh, come on. Okay, so what he's gonna say is that here's the thing, in short. 13. And this is, I think, what he's gonna say for the rest of the chapter. That Boaz had in mind to marry Rus, but there was a relative who was closer than him. If I remember correctly, there were a few brothers. One was Avimelech, I think one was Tov, and I forget the third one. And Boaz, then, so they were uncles. Boaz was a cousin. And so the uncle had precedence. The uncle had precedence marry to marry Rus. So if Boaz Boaz did not want to um to be the first one, and they're going to explain why. He didn't want to to signal or to state his intention to marry her until the uncle said that he backed out. Now, why would the uncle back out? So Rus was a Moabite. She was I'm sorry, Moabitess. She was a woman convert from Moab, and the Torah says that someone from Moab may not enter into the children of Israel. There is the question is, does it only refer to males or does it refer to females as well? The halacha was not clearly established at that time. Remember, it's a few generations before King David. So we've been in Israel about 350 years, 350 years at this time. So so the halacha uh was not well known, it wasn't firmly established. Boaz knew the halacha, and as a leader in Israel, he knew that his actions and his words would have influence. No one would question him. The uncle didn't have that confidence, and the uncle didn't have that prominence, and perhaps wasn't sure of what the halacha was. Even if you told him the halacha, he'd say, like, you know what, I don't want to get involved in this quagmire and have people question my marriage. So basically he backed out, and Boaz said, "Okay, I have no problems. I'll marry her." So so that's that. So Boaz did not. So again, there are three brothers, Elimelech, and the two others I think were Tov and I don't remember. I should know. And and Elimelech was a cousin to Machlon. So the other guy had the right of first refusal, and Machlon and Boaz wanted him to play his hand first before Boaz. Boaz wanted the uncle to play his hand before he showed his cards. How's that for a metaphor?
Sounds good.
And I'll raise you a nickel.
All right.
Okay, page 13.
So we may explain as follows. Zera Shimshon introduces his answer with a discussion of the plans of Boaz that he had for his marriage to Rus. As the Megillah states, Naomi and Rus were left with Elimelech's field, which needed to be redeemed by his relatives. Boaz and his uncle, referred to in the Megillah as the Redeemer, were the closest relatives fit to make his redemption, which included marrying Rus. Accordingly, Zera Shimshon explains Boaz's strategy. For Boaz's intentions were not to marry Rus until the Redeemer, his uncle, had revealed that he did not want to marry her, for the reason we will write at length further on in Jush 14. On the verse, "Now my daughter, do not be afraid." See there. And Boaz's intentions also were to force the Redeemer to tell him explicitly, "Acquire her for yourself," and so that no challenge or claim could remain against this marriage. And for this reason, Naomi and Ruth stipulated that they did not want to sell the field to a redeemer, unless he would also acquire Ruth as his wife, so that no challenge or claim could be raised against the marriage. It is thus written that Boaz said, "On the day that you buy the field from the hand of Naomi, you must also buy it from Ruth the Moabite, and she will sell it to you only if you also marry her." But the Redeemer was unable to marry Ruth and redeem her field. As it is written, "I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I imperil my own inheritance." On the contrary, he asked Boaz to marry her and removed his shoe to transfer his rights to him. And had this transfer witnessed by witnesses, as is apparent from the verses.
From the verses.
Now
Okay,
all
so Boaz, if Boaz would just go ahead and marry her, then the Redeemer would say, the uncle might say to him, "Hey, how come you married her without checking with me? I really wanted to marry her. Or he would say, you okay, you went ahead and married ahead of me. Um, I wish you would have asked me first, even something like that. So Boaz wanted to set things up that the uncle would say to him, I don't want to do it. You go ahead and marry her.
Okay.
Okay.
So now all these things concerning Boaz and Rus and their deeper significance are hidden and sealed, because from their union our righteous Mashiach of the Davidic dynasty will come to the world, as is known by those who know.
So we know that um, Rus, that when Boaz married Rus, um, he Boaz died on the wedding night. He didn't live to the next day, but Rus became pregnant and gave birth to Ovad, who gave birth to Yishai, who gave birth to David. So right now they're continuing or planting the seeds for Mashiach.
Okay, but had Boaz married Rus before he spoke to the Redeemer would have bought the field and thus been able to challenge or raise a claim against the marriage. Boaz's intentions thus would have not been achieved. He therefore waited to marry Rus until the Redeemer refused to do so and formally surrendered his rights to both Rus and her field.
So if he would marry Rus, then the Redeemer would say, okay, I'll take the field. And by rights, I really should be able to marry Rus. He might say something like that. So he did so. Therefore, he wanted him to back out first.
Okay, there was another reason why Boaz wanted to link Rus's marriage with the acquisition of her field. Zera Shimshon cites a medrash to explain. See Medrash Rabbah on the verse formerly this was done in Israel, which teaches that when someone would sell the field of his family's inheritance, his relatives would publicly disgrace him, as they would do for someone who married a woman who was unfit for him. See there for details. Nevertheless, when such a person retracted and redeemed the field that he had sold, they would publicly restore him to his honor, as they would do for someone who divorced a woman who had been unfit for him to marry. See there for details. But here, with respect to Rus, people were in doubt about her, whether she was fit to marry or not, as we will explain later. On the verse mentioned above, see there, Jewish
So,
14.
so what he's going to say is that Boaz is going to redeem the field, and people would celebrate. People would hold him in honor for that. And his point is just like you consider it an honor to redeem the field, you also should consider it an honor that I'm marrying Rus. I mean,
Okay.
even if halachically he's allowed to marry her, people would say, "What's he doing? He's the greatest man in Israel." And there he is. He's marrying a convert. And what kind of convert? A convert from Moab.
Hmm.
Where the men are not we're not allowed to marry in.
Right.
So they would, what's it called? Turn their noses up at such a marriage. I mean, you
Hmm.
have today, someone gets married, then people are surprised why he married such a person, why he married someone for this family, why he married a convert. Um, Today there is a lot of acceptance, or why he married someone who's different. Um, perhaps interracial marriage. Um, so Boaz was showing here that that they should rejoice and respect this marriage too.
Okay. Boaz thus wanted to show that just as it was a great honor to redeem the field of his family's inheritance, so too it was a great honor to marry this woman because she was fit to marry. For Boaz knew that the law had been decided that only a Moabite man is prohibited to enter the congregation of Hashem but not a Moabite woman. He therefore wanted to link the redemption of the family's field with the taking of Rus as his wife to show that both were great mitzvos. In any event, it was essential for Boaz to wait to marry Rus until the Redeemer had surrendered to him his rights to both her and her field.
Okay, next.
Should
Oh,
we
now he talks about, huh?
should we stop here or continue?
I guess we should stop. It's already 7:25.
Okay.
We've been on for 45 minutes. Okay. All right. So
Well,
please hang on.
do you want to finish your thought?
What I was gonna say is I was gonna introduce for next week. So
Okay.
let's leave that for next week. Next week is a Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so we'll leave that for next week. I hope you remember where we stopped, because I usually don't. Okay. So yeah,
All
so
right.
there's a lot of different things. Amazing how he brings in all these different laws into the picture.
That's the Zera Shimshon.
Yeah.
All right. Very good,
Guessing.
Chaim.
Anything
Thank you.
else? Hold on a second.
One second. Hold on. I'll call you right back. So the other ones just can't make it, or